Coffee. If you enjoy a good cup of coffee, you're not going to want to miss this, so keep watching.
Today we are going to dive into caffeine, how it helps us lose belly fat and how to avoid it disrupting a good night's sleep.
Bonjour. It's time to wake up and smell the coffee. Ready? Let's go. Caffeine is one of those things which occasionally in the past has had a bad reputation.
You are drinking too much coffee, young man.
Today we are going to dive into caffeine, how it can help you lose belly fat and how to avoid it disrupting a good night's sleep.
We are going to give you some pearls of wisdom now. This is the stuff which has massively helped us in our own speedy body transformation, as well as many others.
We hope you harness this information so that you don't miss out on better fat loss, better sleep and less stress. Yeah, all thanks to caffeine, if used right.
Don't worry, we cover all the details you need in this video.
Let's start with the basics. Caffeine primes you for physical activity. It boosts your adrenaline and it stimulates you.
It's that buzz, that physical readiness for action to either fight or flight.
You either fight for your life, come over here, or you flight for your life. I'm sorry.
Caffeine boosts not just your physical capabilities, but also your brain function. And this is where it's often misused.
You see, if you work in an office and you have 5 cups of coffee to feel a bit more stimulated, think better and feel better about your work, well, that all sounds great, but you are still sat in an office. Karen, can you bring me the file, please?
Wait. You're not exactly doing physical activity. You're not fighting or flighting. You're typing on a keyboard. This is a prime example why caffeine has a bad name. Because when it's misused this way, it can create more stress, more cortisol, and can work against your overall health.
Even worse, if you have milky coffees or sugary coffees like lattes and cappuccinos, which many people enjoy the taste of, then you can't fully prime yourself for action either because of the insulin spike. So having these sweeter coffees often is a double whammy, because not only do you get the cortisol and stress for the caffeine, you also get the sugar hit and the sustained high insulin levels. Not great.
But hey, this is not what caffeine is for. Here's why coffee can be great.
First, it reduces pain, including perceived pain and fatigue in your training, allowing you to push further.
It also stimulates your central nervous system, resulting in better muscle contractions and more neural drive.
All code words for better training performance.
There's even plenty of research to show moderate caffeine intake can increase your lifespan. So drinking coffee can help you live longer.
Young man.
It does something else. Not only does it stimulate adrenaline, it also promotes part of the biochemical chain of reactions that take place in lipolysis,
what we call fat breaking, which we cover in our full BellyProof series, which you can find on our official YouTube channel.
If you look closely at the diagram in the main BellyProof series, you'll notice there's a list of reactions that happen during fat breaking. All these complex names might not mean much to you. But a boost in any of them can enhance lipolysis, meaning you can break more fat and in turn oxidize more free fatty acids, something you may recognize as fat burning. Caffeine increases intracellular concentrations of cyclic adenosine monophosphate, or cyclic AMP.
It does so by inhibiting phosphodiesterase enzymes, PDE, in skeletal muscles and adipose tissue.
These actions promote the activation of HSL, or hormone-sensitive lipase.
That translates into more lipolysis, or fat breaking.
Which means you can then burn more fat, as you oxidize the free fatty acids broken from their captivity in the glycerol chain.
We explain this process in more detail in our BellyProof series on our official BellyProof YouTube channel, so if you haven't caught it yet, you probably should. The last thing that's important to understand is how caffeine can affect your sleep and how that in turn can affect your belly fat.
Sleep is a bit complex, but one of the key things to know is that we have something called adenosine, which can be more easily understood as sleep pressure.
As you go about your day doing things, sleep pressure, or adenosine, builds up in your system, and at some point you start feeling sleepy and tired.
When you go to sleep, adenosine levels go down and the sleep pressure alleviates. Caffeine is an adenosine receptor antagonist. It blocks adenosine from binding to the receptors. This is part of why caffeine makes you feel more awake.
It's also very true that if you're tired and sleepy, caffeine is not likely to prevent you from falling asleep, which misleads many people to think they're immune to caffeine. It may be so, but if you have caffeine in your system when you go to sleep, your adenosine levels cannot get as low as they should to allow for good quality sleep.
So, for example, if quality sleep is 100% sleep pressure when you go to sleep in the evening, down to 0% sleep pressure when you wake up in the morning, or in other words, a full tank of adenosine to an empty tank.
Late coffee drinkers are likely to find themselves going from full adenosine to some adenosine as the body cannot metabolize it as efficiently.
It gets worse. If you do it long enough, you wake up in the morning feeling relatively well, convinced that everything is normal, whereas in fact, you are just getting used to being a bit tired by default.
Fooling yourself into thinking it's your ground zero.
This is why late coffee drinkers often find themselves in a vicious cycle of always feeling a little tired and in turn always drinking a little more coffee to stay awake and focus.
If this is you, we advise you break this habit quickly. And how does this connect to belly fat? Well, if you have caffeine in your system when you go to sleep, you also have more beta brain waves and less melatonin.
And if you watched our series, you know that melatonin suppresses estrogen, and estrogen promotes alpha-2 receptors on stubborn fat cells.
That means having caffeine in your system as you sleep results in a worse sleep cycle, with more estrogen and alpha-2 receptors activity, resulting in super stubborn fat.
This really doesn't help your efforts to lose the belly.
Caffeine stays in your system for around 10 hours. So if you go to bed at say 11 p.m, you really don't want to be having caffeine after about 1 p.m. Otherwise you'll start getting the undesired effects.
This is the big difference between coffee is bad for you and can make your fat more stubborn and your sleep worse, to coffee is amazing for you and can help you lose fat. It really depends on how you use it.
Now please don't take this the wrong way. We've enjoyed the odd cappuccino or a bit of sugar in a coffee, or even a coffee amaretto at the end of a nice meal.
We're not telling you never to have an iced latte or enjoy coffee late in the day. It happens, just don't make a habit of it. For best results, have proper coffee, beans or ground, or a caffeine supplement. Skip the milk, the sugar, the cream, the hazelnut syrup.
And throw away the instant stuff. It's muck, it's not nice. Stick to good quality, proper coffee.
Aim to have your coffee shortly before training.
If you had your caffeine 2 hours before, you might actually feel more tired.
20 to 30 minutes before you start your workout is ideal.
Try to avoid too many coffees outside of exercise. One in the morning is fine, one later on is okay.
But don't be that person who has constant coffee breaks without actually doing any physical activity. Remember, it primes you for physical action.
Lastly, aim to have the last coffee no later than 10 hours before bedtime. So if you go to bed at say 11 p.m, try not to have coffee after 1 p.m. Our last bonus tip is for those of you who want to benefit from caffeine, but either don't like the taste of coffee or don't like the jittery effect that it can give. Look out for our L-theanine video. It might just change your life.
As always, we hope this video was helpful, and if it was, give us a thumbs up and let us know what you thought in the comments below.
We'll be back with another video soon, and until next time, stay